Okay, basically what we're trying to show in this video is one of the easiest, most simple, universal knots that you can use for tying off to a tree ready for your ridge line. This one is called the Canadian jam knot. So easy. Okay, so take the line around the back of what will be the tree. You take your tag end, which is this, and you do a simple, just like a shoelace knot, overhand knot I think it's called. Okay, so there's like that. So there, you've looped it around, and you kind of tie it around itself, back through, so you've got that going on. You see that there going on? It's just a simple overhand knot tied around the main line. Okay, really easy. Just roll it a little bit, give yourself a bit of slack. So you've got quite a bit of tag. Now on that tag, you tie another overhand knot in the tag. Okay, that tag end. And as you pull it tight around the tree, take up all that slack. You see that slack has just reduced, and as you pull on it and pull on it and pull on it and pull on it, it tightens up on itself and it stays tight. It jams. Canadian jam knot. It's not going anywhere. Dead easy. And then when you want to undo it, you pull on the tag and that slackens it off, and then you just simply undo your knots. Just two overhand knots. They should be relatively easy to undo, especially with 550 paracord. And you undo, job done. You'll probably still be left with an overhand knot on there, but you undo that. It's as easy as that. And that's just for tying your first end off on your ridge line. So I'll do it again. You go round and you do the overhand knot. Okay, like that. And that moves up and down your main line. Okay, and you've got your bit of tag end, and you just tie another overhand knot in that tag end. It doesn't have to be really tight, so it looks like that. Overhand knot, overhand knot, and then when you pull it, all the slack gets taken out, and then you're good to go to then do the other end. Now the other end is going to be called a trucker's hitch. The reason why we're using a trucker's hitch is because it's tensionable and adjustable, or rather it's adjustable with regards to the tension. So over time, the wind's been blowing your line, your tarp, this is going to slacken off and bow, maybe over say a 1 or 2 night stay. You're going to want to readjust it and retighten it, and the trucker's hitch is perfect for that. So we'll show that in the next clip. Okay, you might not be able to see my face, but I'm zooming in a little bit on this shot just so you can see what I'm doing a little bit more close up. So you take your tag end around what would be the tree. Okay, you come over the top, underneath, and then wrap the tag end over and through itself. Okay, so you've got that going on. Just kind of show you there, you can see that. So you've got simple overhand knot. Okay, you've got your main line coming through. Then what you do, just tighten that up a little bit, give yourself that bit of slack. I'd say 3 inches. It's probably a bit excessive, but it's just easier to work with. And you tie another overhand knot in that tag end. So essentially what you've done is you've done an overhand knot around the main line, and the tag that's left, you've tied a second overhand knot, so then when you tighten up like that. It all jams up on itself and goes nice and tight, like that. Really simple, really easy. On the next shot, it should be the trucker's hitch. And again, I'll kind of talk you through it, and then we'll do a bit of a close-up. Okay, at the other end, now we're going to try and finish this off. So the way you do that is we use a trucker's hitch. Okay, so here you've got the tight line, and this would be the tag end. Okay, so say probably about a foot and a half back from your tree on your main line. You get hold of your main line and you just kind of slacken off a little bit. Give it a twist. Oops, it's tricky. Give it a twist. Roll it over on itself. Pinch the main line on the other side and pull it through to create a loop. Okay? Get your tag end and feed it through that little loop that you've just made and pull all your spare line through. You might have quite a lot. I've got loads because obviously a bit of a shorter distance under the shelter that I've built here. I'm in the back garden today. So you've got that. Okay? So you've created a loop in the main line. Okay? It goes around the tree and you put your tag end through that loop you've just made. Now, to tighten this, okay, you want to pull back on yourself. Okay? So pull away from yourself. And as you pull on that, you can see it helps you get more tension. So it's a bit like a pulley system where you've got 1, 2, 3 points, so it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So you can pull on that and get this. I'll come around here. And you pull on that. That is really, really tight. But here comes the tricky bit. You've now got to pinch all three. I'll just slacken it off a little bit. You've got to pinch all three of those together as best you can and as close to this bit as you can. So you're grabbing all three so you don't lose tension. That's the tricky bit. Okay? Then you make a bit of a loop with the slack. Okay? And you grab the tag end through the loop you've just made and you pull it up and through. Just tighten it off a little bit, and as you pull and tighten that on itself, it locks off. Okay, so that then keeps that tight. That is called a trucker's hitch. A little bit clumsy to film. I've asked Matt to give me a hand. There's his thumb.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, right now you've got it as tight as you want. Okay, say after a 1 to 2 day bit of bushcrafting, this is holding your tarp, wind's blowing a bit, it slackens off. So you want to come and adjust this. So how that's done is this loop that you made and the tag end, you can pull that tag end he says.
Just give it a yank. There you go.
And it pops open. So you're back to the tension stage. So you can pull it again and put some more tension on it. And you do exactly the same. Try and pinch all three.
Get a close up of that.
So I'm just pinching all three pieces. I'm getting my tag end over the top. I'm going through and grabbing that tag end and I'm pulling it up to create that loop like that. Okay, it's a bit fiddly, but you'll get the hang of it. Like with all knots, bit of practice. This one is much more complicated than the other end, which was the Canadian jam knot. That's dead easy. This is a little bit more tricky, but it means that you can come back instead of unwrapping it from around your tree and your 50,000,001 knots that you've created and you're struggling with cold wet hands maybe. You can just come up and give that a yank, and you're then back to the tension stage. You can even let a bit of slack off and just make it a bit higher if you wanted. Maybe you weren't happy with how you had it set, and you can
Easily retension the
lean
line.
on that. I mean, I can really take that to the tree, really. I could have done that knot a little bit further down, but I can come right back on that. And I can make that really tight. But just obviously for the purposes of this, you need to be able to see me pinch that and create that loop there.
Do you want to?
And that's good to go.
Do you want to show the trucker's hitch again, but do a close up doing it slow?
From the beginning?
Yeah, from the beginning.
I can do, yeah. Just undo it all.
So let me sort this camera thing out.
Okay, so Matt's going to try and do a little bit more of a close-up as I'm tying this. A little bit tricky, but we'll try our best, so bear with us.
Yeah, try and do it a bit slower than before.
Right, so you've run your ridge line from your Canadian jam knot on the other tree, okay, all the way to your desired end tree, okay. You come about 12 to 18 inches away from the trunk, and you're just not pulling too tight. You're going to make it difficult for yourself, so just let a little bit of slack off, but not too much. Create a loop in it, so you're twisting it, okay, so nice and slow. So you're twisting it, rotating it over on itself, and with your two fingers, or your finger and thumb, you're pulling a loop through. Do you want to do that again?
Yeah, I could do that again, yeah.
Right. And by the way this is created, when you come to undoing it all, just like with the other bit of this, when you yank on it and it pops open, this loop will pop open when you yank on it as well. So it's all dead easy. So, twist it on itself, back through. Oh, God, it's difficult. Difficult with all fingers. Right. And then you're pulling through. Just making a little bit of a loop. Yeah? See that?
That loop there.
Dead easy. Then you're getting your tag end and you're popping it through the loop you've just made, and you pull all your slack through. Now I've obviously got quite a lot here. This is a long ridge line because you just don't know when you get to your location the distance between your trees. This just
Yes, you need a bit of
short or long. This gives you options, and sometimes it can be a pain in the butt because you end up standing on your own cordage, but hey ho. Right, so we're at that stage now where you pulled all the slack through the little loop we've just made. Okay? So now you're going to pull away from yourself. Already. That is just so much easier to get tension on.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, so much easier. Now, all I'm doing, whilst keeping tension on, is I'm pinching that one, and that one. All three, and pinching them together, which just locks it and holds the tension I've just created. So I'm getting my tag end, and I'm putting it over the whole lot.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm just grabbing that dangly tag end bit, and I'm just pulling it through. And I'm going to keep pulling it until it pulls back on this knot and tightens. Okay. Then you just let go.
It does slip a bit, but
It might slip a little bit, but you can just nip it with your hands. Done. That's it. And I've not really lost any tension off that at all. It was really tight.
no, you could definitely hang off that.
Yeah? Right, now, if Matt just bears with me a bit, I'm going to show you undoing this, and I'll show you what I meant by this knot undoes on itself, just like this one does. So to undo it, you're going to pull that loop till it disappears and pops through. See that? And you let the slack then come back through the loop you created. Take all your slack out of that loop. Jigging around a bit because I'm stood on my own cordage again. Right, so I've now pulled all that loose back through. So I'm left with that loop that we had. So remember we had that first loop we created?
Yep.
Yeah? Right, so, watch.
And gone.
And gone. Really easy. And that is the trucker's hitch. It just makes it adjustable, so you can adjust the height and the tension really, really easy. Those 2 knots, as far as I'm concerned, should be the most versatile knots you will use when out bushcrafting, camping, whatever it is you're doing. Helping to tie down tarps and keep tension on tarps, you can use the trucker's hitch. Obviously the other end with the Canadian jam knot, just say if you're tying something to your pack and you do not want it coming undone, you can use the Canadian jam knot. Wrap it around, use a Canadian jam knot, that's going to hold.
And the more you pull on it, the tighter and tighter it gets.
It just gets tighter and tighter and tighter and locks down on itself. Hence why it's called the Canadian jam knot. That knot there just stops the tag end from pulling through, and that knot jams up, and it's that creates the sort of jam, the tension on it.
It works a lot better in the wet as well when the
and
when the cordage is wet.
Better on a round tree as well. I mean, we just got a square fence post, but in the back garden, you have to make do with what you've got. But yeah, and again, to undo, you pull the tag end, and all that does is it just pulls the jam away from the timber like that. Right, and then once you've got your slack, it is a simple overhand knot. He says it's always the way in it in practice.
I can never undo your knots.
Yeah, well, it is literally just an overhand knot. So you pull through your slack. Some people, while I've got you close up, some people will tie their knot on the end on the tag end first, go around, right, like that, do their overhand knot like that.
All right.
Yeah, and then just
I see.
Then just tighten up. There you go.
And Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle, and Fanny's your aunt. Okay? Dead easy. So there's 2 ways of doing the Canadian jam knot. The way I did it, which was tie the knot on the tag end afterwards, or you just tie the knot on the tag end first.
Which makes it even easier.
It's entirely up to you, but it's exactly the same knot.
Then you don't have to hold tension on the rope whilst you're tying the knot and the knot at the end. So you could just tie the knot at the end first, then put the tension on, which would be easier.
Entirely, like I say.
But yeah,
just personal preference.
I definitely need to scratch up on my my knowledge of knots. So this is
over the top.
Helpful for me as well as you guys.
Okay, so nice and large scale. Okay, just loosen it all off a little bit, makes things a little bit easier to see. So there's your main line that I'm waggling there. That's wrapped around the back of the tree. We've then come and created an overhand knot, which makes a loop around the main line. Okay, so we just tighten up some of that slack in that. Bit excessive, that's too much, but hey, it doesn't matter. And you just make another overhand knot in your tag, like that. And as you then tighten that down on the tree, you'll see all the slack will disappear as it is. Look at that. And as the more you tighten down, the tighter it gets. It just jams up on itself. Okay, so those are the 2 easiest knots I think in the world to remember. Little bit of practice. It takes you what, 10-15 minutes. Job's a good one. 2 knots, versatile, can be used in all sorts of conditions. Tying tarps down on the back of trucks, hence the trucker's hitch, because you can really get some tension on it. Ridge lines, tarps going to stakes in the ground, tarps going out to branches or out to roots. If you haven't got any pegs and don't know how to make any pegs, we'll show you how to do that in another video. So yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We do have something new going on. In the description is our Patreon link. You can pop on there, hop over to the Patreon. We've got 2 tiers for the Patreon. Have a little read through and see which one you prefer. If you want to become a member, click on the Patreon. We look forward to seeing you there. These how-tos, hopefully, are for you guys. Thank you very much.